Welcome, traders, to After Hours at TradersPost, Friday, February 6th, 2026. I'm one of your hosts. This is Tom Hartman. I'm not Tom. I'm one of your hosts, Peter Hartman, part of the marketing team here at TradersPost, joined by Tom Hartman, Exit Liquidity. Tom, this is all
Uh,
written. This is all written wrong. This is
I'm
all
not
written wrong.
exit liquidity.
Yeah,
You're
I
exit
know.
liquidity. I'm the
Yeah,
secret
but
profit from payout Poppy.
you wrote the script and it's completely wrong. You wrote yourself in my position. Welcome, traders, to After Hours at Traders Post for Friday, February 6, 2026. I'm one of your hosts, Peter Exit Liquidity Hartman, joined by Tom Hartman, part of the marketing team here at Traders Post. He's also a Secret Profit Payout Poppy or something. After Hours is your weekly look back for retail traders, where we break down what actually moved markets and how the cleanest trade setups played out or did it. We hit the macro drivers when it matters behind the week in dollar equities and policy terms. Tom, this is written. This is you got to write this better. This is
Or maybe you got to read it before you go on air. Maybe.
no. I mean, this is just
Maybe do
so
a
that we
couple of run
haven't
throughs beforehand.
so that we have an idea of what to look for in the week ahead. After Hours is brought to you by BluSky, the best-in-class prop firm with same-day activation, daily payouts, and no max restrictions. But we'll tell you more about them later. First of all, I got to say
You know what
welcome
it's
to
like for
everybody.
you, Peter, when you do the intros for this? It feels like I did bring my daughter to work day. All right. And she just jumped to the deep end and she's trying to run the Zoom meeting and it's not going very well.
I didn't even know it was going to be different. I didn't know you were going to write that. And then, had I known, I would have known. Tom doesn't write scripts properly. I have to change
So
it.
I could literally put anything in there for you to say anything. I like a little monkey, you would have just said it.
Well, yeah.
Well, wait till next week, folks, because that intro is going to be a doozy.
It's in the prompter. Well, I'm not. Am I not going to read it? Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Are you up? Are you down? How was your trading week? Did you get in? Did you see the move today? It was wild. Price action live. If in case you missed it, go and watch the replay on our channel. Like and subscribe. Tom, how you been?
No one could have seen the price action coming today, huh, Peter? No one could see it coming that the NASDAQ would bounce at the open last night and rise up all the way to where it is right now to the weekly VWAP. Who could have seen this coming?
Well, you did good. You did good. You saw it coming. I don't know how.
Well, that's one of the things I want to do.
Right. A broken clock is right twice a day, right?
You're talking to the Sacred Profit from Payout Poppy, okay? So one of the things I want to be doing is we want to do this on After Hours. We're going to walk you through some of the trade setups that were there on Price Action Live this week, all right? Not to rub it in your face that, we did a winning trade and you didn't do a winning trade. No, we want you to know what we know. Put our knowledge inside of your brain, and maybe we work together and we both come out more profitable in the end. I want your trading for next week to take into consideration some of the things that we've been paying attention to this week. Because, Peter, we've had person after person come on Price Action Live, and the one tool that they all have in common, not every single one of them, but if you had to talk about one indicator, one tool that they all have in common, what would that tool be?
TradersPost.
Okay, good. Sure. I meant VWAP, but yeah, definitely TradersPost was an indicator. TradersPost is not an indicator.
You said
VWAP.
indicator or tool. You almost took the legs out of my joke, but you said indicator or tool, so
VWAP. But the problem with VWAP is that there's multiple different kinds of VWAPs, and people focus on price and not always on time, which is something that they should be doing. So I wanted to go over, now that you're learning how to trade, I want to do a nice little tutorial about, hey, the trade setups, how to know what's coming, and how to trade accordingly. Because the way you traded today was painful. Painful. But with just a little bit of information from me, you were able to end in the green today, right?
Yeah. In the chat here, we have Min Trader MQ, who says, could you guys post this video on your channel later, please? Could not watch this now. Thanks. You don't have to worry about that. All of our live streams are posted on our channel. They're live, directly after the stream is done. Just make sure you go to the live tab on the YouTube channel, and you're going to see it all there. Not only can you see this one, you can see the price action lives that happen 4 days a week, Tuesday to Friday. Tom and Mike, and sometimes myself, trade the open 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being interested. It is on our YouTube channel for sure. Tom. So yeah, I was ended the day in the green. Yes, trade of 342 buckaroos, and it did a lot to wipe out all of the failed trades. You know, I had
All
to,
your mistakes from earlier on. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it did a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
Felt
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Peter, nothing will make me happier than to see you get a payout from one of these prop firms. It'll
Really?
make you finally useful. Plus, what can lead to my aggrandizement even more? Me getting more payouts or me getting someone like you?
I'm gonna
A
attack.
little rube, a little literal helmet wearer, dunce cap up to a payout. If I can do that, I can help anybody.
I'm gonna allow my accounts to go in the red 24/7. I'm gonna give the credit to Secret Profit on the daily. That'll be my payout.
What? All right, Peter. So other than that, we're going to go over some of the trades this week. I also wanted to touch on what was going on with Bitcoin, specifically in the realm of MSTR, because look, when Bitcoin goes down more than 30%, all of a sudden, the hopes and feels and all the hopes that Bitcoin gets to $1 million in 2 seconds, they get dashed. The altcoins get wrecked, and it is a sour note in the Twitterverse. So I wanted to
Yeah.
go off and touch a little bit on that, but also to point out, hey, it's totally possible to see it coming because we sort of called it here. I know people online are saying all kinds of things about who could have seen it coming. Oh, we did. We talked about it for months. But okay, fine. And then I also want to talk about the gold and silver trade, because if you think that things are sour for the Bitcoiners, the gold and silver people are right there with you. All
I didn't
right,
even look at
but
gold and silver today.
no, you can't.
I was
You're
just
you're a little
focused on
baby bird. You can't be doing that.
I just focus on MNQ, MBT, but yeah. All right. So what we're going to be doing today that's a little bit different than, well, it's very different than what we've done on previous streams, is that we're going to be breaking down trades. We're going to be looking at the charts, and Tom's going to be calling out, like how you could have seen this coming. So I'm very interested in this. He keeps talking about how our information is going to be in your head. I don't got any information. Okay. I'm the dummy beginner trader here, and I'm going to be learning along with you. So I'm going to be asking questions. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. Very much interested in hearing your input.
Yeah, I
Market
mean, what I
risk.
want to be doing is not going over your mistakes for the day, but going over macro events and things that matter to me. But apparently, you guys don't like macro content. You guys could care less
No, they
what
like it.
happens in the People's Bank of China treasury account. You guys don't care what
Oh,
happens with Japan yields. You guys are not interested in what the IMF does. Fine, I get it. So we're going to give you baby birds exactly what you need. Trading tips. All right, trading ideas. All right, so let's just start off with that a little bit here. Let's go over the trade setups for today. All right. Now, the indicators are going to be shown on my chart are the indicators I use, but they're all surfacing the same sort of things that you guys are normally used to. Almost all the indicators you see on my chart right now have to do with volume weighted average price, VWAP, of different kinds. We have overnight VWAP, we have session VWAP. That's generally what we're dealing with, and then we're also dealing with RSI. Look at RSI as well. Right
Is
now, we're taking a
VWAP
look at.
something? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Is VWAP something you should explain, or does everybody know that?
If you don't know what VWAP is, you got to pause this video and you got to head over to a YouTube video and get it. It's the average price, but weighted by volume. Why do we weight by volume? Because volume is an indicator of conviction. So it adds more validity to a chart, which is why I hardly ever use a moving average, a regular moving average, simple or exponential. I use a volume weighted moving average. I find them to be far more useful. So you'll see a bunch of that on my chart. Actually, I'll hide that. But also VWAP, as popularized by Brian Shannon inside of his Anchored VWAP book, is a tool used by institutions and brokers or what have you as their line in the sand for going long or short. As you might imagine, if someone needs to buy $2 billion worth of an asset, they can't just press a button and buy it. So often they'll go to a broker or something like that, and that broker will have some sort of terms that says, hey, I will buy this asset below VWAP. So whenever the price goes below VWAP, all of a sudden these orders are there that are bouncing the price back up, or the opposite if you're short. So that's why VWAP matters, because institutions use it. Is that enough of an explanation to you, Peter?
It is for me. Steve says, "Baby bird reporting in." Feed me, dog.
You
Feed
just got to
me.
open up, and I'll just put that information right down there.
Okay, so how, on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is VWAP?
If I had no other indicators that I could ever use, except for one, it would be VWAP.
Wow. And you only learned about VWAP with Mike Christensen, who told you that like a year or two ago. I don't know how long ago it's been.
Yeah, he introduced me to the book. This is a must read. This is the Anchored VWAP book from Brian Shannon. Brian Shannon, am I saying this right? Yeah, Brian Shannon, CMT. Fantastic. I think in the preface, Bollinger Band, John Bollinger, the guy who made the Bollinger Bands. Do you know anything about Bollinger Bands, Peter?
Of course.
Yeah, John Bollinger like says this is like one of the best new books on the market for trading, and it's true. Like you read this and you start realizing, why have I not been thinking in terms of I want to be a fish swimming in the wake of the big whale. Why on earth am I fighting with other fish? It's ridiculous. Let's go ahead and swim in the wake. So that's it's absolutely fantastic. So the indicators on my chart are all variations of that. I'm actually going to hide a few of these because you guys are going to find it a little bit too confusing. So let's hide trend, let's hide lull, and let's hide wave. So all we're seeing on the chart right now is RSI at the bottom over here, and then a bunch of different VWAP levels. The thicker line here, this blue teal that moves to red, that is a overnight VWAP. You can tell because it starts in the overnight right at the time at 6 p.m. And then we have the daily VWAP, which starts over here. And depending on how they're stacked together, you can see them as red or green, bullish or bearish. This is reminiscent of Midnight VWAP, the indicator that we created in the TradersPost indicator library that was inspired by Mustang Trader, who talked about this on Price Action Lives, which is why you got to be on Price Action Lives. There's so much great tidbits that are dropped there. So last night, Peter. So what happens at 6 p.m.? 6 p.m. futures open, right? Tabula rasa, blank slate when it comes to the daily. That first hour, it's sort of like a no man's land. 6 to 7, you sort of watch what goes on. If there's a strong move in one direction on that initial candle, I might take that trade because there might have been some news that happened at 5 o'clock or some earnings report that came out and the market's repricing it. Okay, I might take that move. But generally speaking, between 6 and 7, I don't do anything. Right? The Asian session starts p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's here where we're seeing that the price was falling. So you might have been thought to yourself, hey, because we were bearish yesterday, maybe that bearishness is going to continue today. And it could have. It could very well have. But what happened is that as we move forward, the price jumped above VWAP. All right. And it did this. Let's see where we
We're
get the
doing a
confirmation.
replay right now, right?
I'm in replay right now on MNQ on the 15-minute chart showing what happened last night. All right. So you see here, Peter, this bar over here, this gray bar, these gray bars.
Yeah.
Those are 2-hour. I'm not going to confuse it with that. Let me just say here that 8 o'clock over here, this is when the Asian session opened. Okay. So the Asian session opened. Now it's like just like there's the US session, there's the London session, there's the Asian session, and these are all traders who are now starting their trading day. All right. Not everyone does it at 9:30 like we do. So the volume here, we talked about before, volume being a confirming thing. Volume is now starting to confirm this price. So here, once we come above here, this is where I'd be looking to go bullish because we're above the VWAP. But the VWAP is still very young, right? We just have a couple of bars. So I would wait here for a pullback. So here we have a pullback where the price came back to VWAP, and we want to see it confirm. I mean, I don't do that. I enter right away, but you want to see it confirm. So this, on this candle close, or here, the price is confirming that it's responded to VWAP and it's going up. All right? Now, your boy Tom, I get in right over here. I mean, I probably got in over here. I don't wait. As soon as I'm short, I'd be short over here and I'd be long over here. Like I ain't waiting. But some people like to wait for the confirmation. So here you could wait for the confirmation, and if you did wait for the confirmation, you would get in at this point, right? That candle confirms the close above. You get in there. Some people, crazy, Peter, they wait for a full candle close above. They would wait for this guy.
And you say,
okay, okay.
You say you shouldn't do that?
No, do whatever you want. But what happens is later on, as you'll see over here, what goes on is that the price can come back and confirm on VWAP again. Like it'll bounce off of VWAP. So let's see, we go forward, we go forward, we go forward.
And if you're trading prop, this could shake you out.
Yeah, I'll show it to you when we get this bounce here. Okay, so let's say you get in over here, the close over here, let's get the open over here. You are above water over here, but as soon as the price gets back over here, you're underwater. And your stop might be like here, and you might get stopped out. Or you have to give yourself more room to the downside. Me getting in over here or over here, my stop is like very narrow. And by the time this moves up, you know, my stop is over here. By the time this moves up, I might already put my break even like over here. So I know I'm going to make money anyway. Let's say if that's what I was going to do, or I just leave it. And I know that no matter what, as long as the price doesn't come back down here, I don't have to worry about it.
You got headroom.
Yeah, I got room here. So it bounces now, it bounces off of VWAP. This would be the second location where you can get into the trade, right? Because it confirmed this bounce over here, you might tell yourself, hey, I'm going to risk it and enter in the next time it comes to VWAP. All right? So this is where you might have, after this confirmation, someone might set a price, a trigger, an alert on VWAP says, hey, the next time price comes back over here, go ahead and send a signal to TradersPost to get me into a new position, right? Maybe they don't want to sit around for, this was what? It opened at 8 o'clock and it was midnight before the price came back. You might not want to sit around, wait for that to happen. You might just send an alert to go ahead and fire off a buy signal, which is great. Sometimes it'll breeze through and you hit your stop loss, sometimes not. Here, what happened is that it actually, I believe it was a good one. You would have gotten filled, and now you're into this long trade. Now, Peter, what I want you to understand is that, generally speaking, when you've hit the VWAP, when you've bounced on it 2 to 3 times, generally speaking, that means you're done. The VWAP is confirmed for that session. Not always, but that's often the case. It means that it's going to hold as support now. And that we've confirmed the direction, we're moving in that direction, right? Because why did it bounce here? It bounced there because there are resting orders there. There were orders here, there were orders here that are being wait to fill. And by the time it happens a second time, other people have noticed that and are now trading in the direction of it. That's why this next bounce over here happens higher above the level. And then it'll continue doing that as we go forward. I believe I didn't memorize this chart. As we go forward, the bounces happen now higher and higher. This one bounces over here. This one bounces over here because the trend has been confirmed for that session. It's not a guarantee. It's just a way of doing it. Trading VWAP bounces, you can get the trend this way, or you can scalp these little bounces. You can scalp them. Does that make sense so far?
It does make sense. Yeah.
Great. So let's just skip ahead. We just let this run. For me personally, this is where I start looking at RSI down here to see, hey, am I overbought or not? Already we have moved into the London session, which started over here.
I'm sorry, just before you do that, Mustang Trader in the chat is asking, so the if/when command would be if ES hits VWAP, go reverse, wait.
Reverse cowgirl, yeah.
No, it says long, not cowgirl. Sorry, go long. Reverse long.
Yeah, so if the VWAP had already been confirmed, right? If it was already confirmed once or twice, well, usually once as I wait for the confirmation. I consider this confirmation here to be one time, and this is the second time. Generally speaking, you don't get the third time. Generally speaking. In fact, the third time you come back to the VWAP with size, you might actually break through it. So usually the second one is where I'll put my limit order in order to get in. So you see here, Peter, at when the London session opens up, I believe it's here at 3 a.m. Let me just put on the sessions to make it clear. 1 second. I'm just going to put on the time frame session so I can see it.
Okay.
Nope, that's the wrong one. I think there's an indicator for a session from TradingView. Yeah. Okay, so this is where the Asian session opened up. This is where the London session opened up. So remember I said that's when a bunch of those people are not coming in. They're adding their volume to it. So when they add their volume to it, they launch the price up. Why? Because we were already long beforehand. So now they're like, okay, I'm going to go long, and they extend it further.
Follow up from Mustang Trader. Could you do it for a second bounce or rejection? That's if the if/then command would be if ES hits VWAP, go reverse long.
Well, you can't do that as an like what I'm saying. Set the alert. I would manually set that alert because there's no setting that says wait for the second or third time unless you had some sort of Pine script. You can make a Pine script that could do that. I'm talking about if you're manually trading, you would wait for that. And now that you saw the first bounce, I would set a limit order on that. And basically that would just be an alert here. Oh, I can't do it in replay mode. It would just be an alert. And sorry, let me just toss in VWAP here. So you just create an alert, and now you would say, hey, when the price crosses over VWAP, go ahead and buy. You would put the Jason Palin message for TradersPost that allows you to buy the position. All right. Well, I just wanted you to see this initially, Peter, because I always recommend learning how to trade from the overnight. It's so much calmer. And because of that reset at the beginning of the VWAPs are resetting, it's sort of like the Etch a Sketch gets erased and we could start again, sort of, right? Especially if it's Sunday night, because then the week got erased and now we're starting again for the new week. Super, super useful. But that's why when we came in today's session, I was like, we're bullish for the session. Why? Because the overnight VWAP here will be below the daily VWAP, right? This VWAP over here is going to be below the new VWAP that starts at the beginning of the US session. You know what I mean here, Peter? And so because it's stacked that way, that's why it shows up as green here. It's bullish.
Mm-hmm.
So since I'm bullish for the day, all I'm looking for now is bullish entries. Sure, I could try to short into it, but I'm going against the trend. I might as well wait for my bounces and try to ride the trend up. Because if I'm wrong, I could wait around and have the price correct. Whereas if I'm wrong on my short, I could get stopped out again and again and again and again and again.
That's what's been happening to me when I was trading. Like, I kept chasing it and then it reversing, and I just didn't know what was going on until I put your indicators on there. I was just like, this is crazy. Who could live this way? But the VWAP really helps you to understand, how the big players are moving, and you you can now see the matrix a little bit better.
That's right. So over here, this is something I don't know how detailed I want to get in here because it might. Let me just undo the replay because this is where you had difficulty with at the 9:30 at 9:30 a.m. It's different than all the other sessions. You have to imagine at the 9:30 a.m. when the US people start, also there are still Europeans in there, and also there are still Asians. So you're getting a lot more volume. Plus, it's US market, so that's where the bulk of the people are coming in. And so you can get these massive whipsaws that happen, right? Which is what happened to you in the morning over here. Remember, I told you to go long here, right? I like being in a trade before market opens. That's just me. Go long over here. And what happened was that you got stopped out down here. Then you got back in long over here. And then you got stopped out over here. And it was just this chore of getting into the trade. Right? This is why why I think getting into the trade here is the best. Because then you just hold this at one micro contract. By the time you got to open, you would already be up $1,400 on that one micro.
Wow.
So you would not have been sloshed out from over here, right? But if you're going to be in the Hunger Games and you're going to go for the cornucopia, well, then you have to try to get trades. Here's the one thing I wanted to point out here. Well, two last things I want to point out. You're going to see on my chart here, I've been talking about these VWAP levels. Wherever VWAP closed the day before, so this is the day before. This is the 5th. Wherever VWAP closed the day before, so we have two VWAPs, the overnight one and then the regular one. Those levels, those prices become levels, targets for the price.
Can you say that one
Those
more time?
closing prices become wherever VWAP closes the day before. So at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. the day before, wherever VWAP closes, that final price for VWAP becomes a target level for the rest of that week, or until it gets revisited again. It's called an unmitigated VWAP level. All right. So if I were to just go back to replay over here and right at close, let's say right here, you see let me just hide these other ones 1 second. So this is where VWAP closed yesterday, the overnight VWAP, and this is the level of that price. This is where the daily session VWAP closed, and this is a level for that price. All right. These price levels where VWAP close, generally speaking, are a magnet for the price. They draw the price towards it.
So I see this going down here, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to go down, but you're like, no, we're going to be drawn up.
We're going to be drawn up, yeah. Chances are, unless there's some event thing or Trump tweeted or whatever, chances are that's going to happen. Right. Which is another reason why I was bullish. So even before I know what the bullishness for the day will be, I have an expectation that the price is going to move up towards that level, and that's exactly what happened, right? And move up to that level. Now, if it came up to this level or to this level and reversed, if it came back down to VWAP and it started to break below, I would say, okay, the up move is done. We're going to continue with the washout for the day. But because we didn't, because we climbed above the VWAPs, climbed and then confirmed it, by the time we get over here, I'm even more convinced that today's going to be a bullish day. Because we climbed over the VWAP. And plus, that VWAP yesterday was red. And we climbed over from below, we climbed up above it and then stayed it. And then VWAP came up and met where we are. So that's even more bullish. Guaranteed? No, but it's even more bullish. So you see here how when the price fell in the morning, it fell to this level here. It's a mitigated level, but it came back and revisited this level. Why? Because there's a bunch of people who, during the overnight, set orders at market open. They set orders to automatically trigger the market open. Right? So in the same way that a bunch of people over here, they thought, hey, this is a great entry point, a bunch of other people also think that's a great entry point, and they place the orders for over here. All right? So what happened is that this candle whipsawed and came down to that level before it then moved off. And then up over here, people are like, hey, I'm up so much. I'm up on the overnight. Let me take my grant. Let me take my money. Right? People could be up tens of thousands of dollars. Let me take my money. So this causes a sell.
That's right at open.
Right at open. So there's a first 15-minute candle, and after that, a bunch of selling. And you see where the selling stopped? After this first time, it only came down to the VWAP level, the previous VWAP level price. That's why I have it dotted on the chart over there that goes, even though it was mitigated before, it's still going to be, people still placed orders around this level for the open. But if you got in over here at this price, if at the open, you go in open here, and you either pull your stop loss low here or you create another stop order here, then you get whipsawed, you'd be in the trade. And if you were there, you would have been able to hold this trade all the way to where? Hold on, little baby birds. Where do you go after the daily levels have been crossed? If you've crossed the daily levels and you're continuing bullishness, or sorry, it doesn't matter if you're continuing bullishness. If you clear the daily levels and you mitigated them, the next magnet is the weekly level, generally speaking. And the weekly level was here. This is the weekly VWAP, this red line. That's the VWAP anchored to the week that started off over here. It started off on Sunday. and it went and went and went, and then it became this level here that the price was sort of being attracted to. But why didn't we go all the way to VWAP, the VWAP week before? Because here it stopped at the daily VWAPs before it went, confirming the downtrend. Here it stopped at the daily VWAPs before it got up there, confirming the downtrend. Here, when it came up to the daily VWAPs, it actually went above it and confirmed above it. That's why I was able to now have the room to get exactly to that level. All right.
Okay. This is too good. Okay.
All right. So there's all kinds of things there. You guys will see here. There's other levels here from previous weeks that weren't cleared. The price came down to those levels to clear it. That's all other things. But I just wanted to point out to you, Peter, why I was so bullish for today and why my expectation was that the price was either to come over here or best case scenario over here. And anything that you needed to do in order to trade in that direction was the thing to do. All right.
We got in the chat here, we have Mustang Trader. If you use the Midnight VWAP indicator from TradersPost today, it showed a bullish channel, then a cross of midnight and New York right at a strong move up. It works great.
That's right.
I
called out the Mustang today on the stream saying that's exactly what happened. The midnight VWAP. Behind mine.
He says, while you look at that, if the daily VWAP crosses up over previous days, just go long and go have a smoke and a cup of coffee.
I'm telling you,
he says you get
in early enough. Go ahead.
You just described a VWAP break strategy on a weekly time frame. It works on any time frame.
That's right.
Wow. Wait, is this the Midnight VWAP indicator? Is that available?
Yes, it's available within the dashboard of TradersPost, and it's great. You can use it. Let me just go pull that up here. So in the dashboard account indicators, you can go ahead and grab that over here, the Midnight VWAP indicator. It's free for anyone, but it is a private indicator, but you get it for free. You could even be a free user of TradersPost and still go get it. And so you go on trading, you go on Trading View, you click on Add to Favorites, and then it'll show up in your favorites for you to use.
Let me make it clear that that is on TradersPost.io. You can log into the dashboard, click on Accounts, and then Indicators, and all of the indicators and strategies and utilities that Tom creates. Tom's created all these are posted here. So if you're watching other blueprints, Blueprint is a show we do on Thursdays where Tom live codes. He'll use Claude Code. He'll do different things. It's kind of a workshop show, not a workshop, a hackathon. And those indicators are available for free. Now, Tom, before we go to our break here, I hear that you're pointing this stuff out on the chart, right? I'm seeing all these lines. I'm seeing all the levels. Where can I get that stuff, those indicators?
These indicators are my proprietary indicators. And so you can get them on sacredprofit.com and try them out. It's a paid subscription, so you have to go and you'd have to go and buy that. But they're the best indicators I have ever used. It took me several years in order to get the understanding of what to do in order to make them work the way they need to work. And if I were to say anything, you want to use the levels indicator, you want to use the wave indicator, and you want to use the trend indicator. We're going to talk about the trend indicator in a second for how I'm able to tell where the top in Bitcoin is going to be and why we're in a bear market. But before that, we'll take a quick word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by BluSky. If you're looking for a prop firm built for real traders and that's automation friendly, meet BluSky. And when you pair it with TradersPost, it just clicks. BluSky is a best-in-class prop firm with same-day activation, daily payouts, and no max restrictions. They also offer launch plans starting at $49. And if you're a first-time subscriber, use coupon code WELCOME26 to get 50% off your launch plan. Get funded with BluSky, execute with TradersPost. Sign up today at blusky.pro, that's BLUSKY.pro, and plug in your edge. Trading involves risk. Use proper risk management. Folks, I want to let you know that what you're seeing here being expressed on the TraderPost channel is the first time that Tom is explaining these breakdowns of these trades and showing you these indicators and showing you these levels. If you like this type of stuff, please let us know by liking and subscribing. Like this video, not only will it let us know that you like it, it'll let YouTube know that this should be shared to other people. And if you think that somebody out there would find this useful, share this video to them. This video will be live on the channel directly after the stream. We would really appreciate it. Now back to Tom.
All right. What Mustang Trader was saying is true. The technique that I'm using over here, you can use on any time frame. It's just obviously the higher the time frame you're using, the higher the risk you're taking. And we focus on the intraday because we do prop firm trading, and so you have to close out your position by the end of the day. But if you use these techniques, like you can use the same sort of idea and go down to the 5-minute chart, to the 1-minute chart. And instead of looking at the VWAP for the day, let me show you like the funniness for this. I just find it just hilarious. Let's go to the it's the 2-hour. Let's go to the 1-minute chart. And I'll show you the 15-minute VWAP. So forget the daily VWAP, forget the weekly, forget all that. This is just the 15-minute VWAP. Yes, 15-minute. That's what I said. All right. So when you look at the 15-minute VWAP, all these levels, all these lines you're seeing are the price of what VWAP was on the previous 15-minute candle. So every one of these bars, these white bars you're seeing, is a new 15-minute candle that starts. Okay? So over here, you see how
you're talking about the white vertical lines. Is that it?
The vertical lines are the start of a new 15-minute candle. The horizontal lines are the price of VWAP, what VWAP was, when that 15-minute candle started. All right? And you'll notice that the price constantly will head directly to those levels. They'll hit those levels. Those levels will act like staircases, like obstacles for the price to bounce around on. So for example, over here, and this happens all the time, someone might be in a short over here, let's say, all right? Because they're shorting towards VWAP, let's say. They're shorting towards VWAP, and they're shorting over here. Then the price will fall, and it'll bounce over here, and they'll get shaken out of the short, right? Either because of a stop or they're too nervous, I'm going to get out of the position. I wouldn't get out of the position because as long as I'm below this 15-minute VWAP, I'm fine. I'm good. My stop's going to be above that line. Why? Because here the price it just came, touched that level, touched the 15-minute VWAP, bounced up, and then confirmed its way through. No reason for me to be scared out over here. So I'm always looking at VWAP levels. You can find VWAP levels. I mean, I've done this on the 10-second chart. You can find VWAP levels all over. And if you really examine it, you'll notice, I don't know this for a fact, but this is what I've noticed, that if I had the VWAP on for every time frame and every single permutation, I would be able to see every price movement, why it's moving the way it's moving.
Yuri.
That's my analysis, because that's what I've seen. All right.
Sander in the chat is saying, Sander as well in the chat is saying, this indicator combination could be amazing for a level-to-level trader.
I trade levels after level, and once I finally figured it out, that's where I got after I figured out, I think I got my first payout within 2 weeks. Wow. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And so anyways, that's why I want to be that's why I changed my name to Sacred Profit, Prop Firm Payout Poppy, because we're going to see prop firm payouts again and again and again and again. All right, Peter.
Yeah.
I want to get to two quick stories here that I thought was the most interesting things for the week, right? Because remember, it was up until today where we had a massive rally. It's been devastation in markets, right? We had Bitcoin down, what was it, 50% at one point? What was it, Bitcoin down? Bitcoin was down, peak to trough. Let me get that. Do you remember offhand how much Bitcoin has fallen?
No.
Bitcoin fell, peak to trough, 52%.
Wow.
Purple bills could handle 30% drops. They can sort of stomach 40% drops. They have enough hopium in order to deal with that. 50%, they start looking around going, did I just round trip this? Right? Because imagine you're in Bitcoin Imagine you're in Bitcoin and you got into Bitcoin over here. Let's say you got in at 41,000. You got in 2021, February 2021. You got in there 4 years ago. You're like, okay, I sort of believe it. Let me get into that price over here. This is the last cycle and the run up of that cycle. I got convinced. Then you got psyched out over here at the China drop. You got psyched out over here, the top of that cycle. Then it fell all the way down, and you're like, God dang it. You went all the way down, and you're at 40. Your price point is 40. You're here, right? Mm-hmm. Then you come back up over here. Boom, you're at 40. I'm back above water. Finally, I'm in the bull run. It went up so much last time. It's going to go up even more this time. It goes up. It comes back down to your level over here again. Pulls back. Hey, wait a second. How am I here again? We get to all-time highs. Okay, great. We're at all-time highs. And boom, we're back down to your level. And you're like, what the hell? Over the last years, I'm still at the same freaking place? Where's my bull run? People were telling me it was going to go to $1 million this cycle. We're going to have a super cycle. Have you heard about that? Super cycle. It's going to be banana zone. It's going to be crazy. All coins are going to be crazy. And this is Bitcoin. There are coins that are like, they're down gangbusters. This one's down 80. Sui's down 80% or something like that.
Are you going to talk about silver after this?
Yeah, right after this.
All right.
So I just wanted to pull this up because I thought it was particularly interesting. If I head back to Twitter. So this is a post from Bob Kendall. It's been making the rounds from the Kendall report. He posted on February 4th, and it got people all in the tizzy. All right. So Peter, let's go ahead and have you. Well, first I'll read this, and then you'll read the post for me. Okay.
Okay.
So this is from the Bitcoin Therapist. This is what Kendall was replying to, and this was posted on February 3rd. Right. And he says, Bitcoin actually tagged $73,000 today, which is borderline insane. What's remarkable is no one actually knows what's happening and why price is going down. It's all predicated on some BS glitch narrative from Binance. It was a whole glitch on Binance that caused liquidations on October 10th from 3 months ago, and the 4-year cycle, which means absolutely nothing. A bunch of people think the 4-year cycle means nothing. So this is Bob Kendall's reply to this. Go ahead.
So here's the issue. You get influencers like this guy have 250,000 followers, and they claim they don't know why it's declining. It's because they don't understand basic mechanics of price discovery. They don't understand that the marginal buyers or the float determines price. They think that on-chain Bitcoin is the price discovery. Well, it was once upon a time, but now, once you can synthetically manufacture the supply, the asset is no longer scarce. And once scarcity is gone, price becomes a derivatives game, not a supply and demand market. This is exactly what has happened to Bitcoin. This is the same structural break that occurred in gold, silver, oil, and eventually equities once they became derivatives denominated. The original premise that no longer exists. Bitcoin's entire valuation logic was built on finite supply, 21 million, and inability to be rehypothecated. That died the moment cash-settled futures, perpetual swaps, options, ETFs, prime broker lending, wrapped BTC, total return swaps were layered on top of the chain. From that moment forward, Bitcoin's supply became theoretically infinite. Not on-chain, I think we went a little too far. Not on-chain in price discovery, the metric that explains the collapse, synthetic float ratio, SFR. Once you can synthetically manufacture the supply, the asset is no longer scarce. I never thought about that. And once scarcity is gone, price becomes a derivatives game, not a supply and demand market. That is exactly what has happened to Bitcoin. This is the same structural break that occurred in gold, silver, oil, and eventually equities once they became derivative dominated. Why Wall Street can now trade against Bitcoin, they do exactly what they've done in every commodity market. Create unlimited paper BTC, short into rallies, force liquidations, cover lower, repeat. They are not betting. They are manufacturing inventory. The same one BTC can now support an ETFs unit, a futures contract, a perpetual swap, an options delta, a broker loan, a structured note, all at once. That is 6 claims on one coin. That is not a market. That is a fractional reserve price system. Mind
Shots
blown.
fired! Shots fired!
My God.
Yes.
Bitcoin has
Yes.
made it. It's institutional now.
That's right. This is what people wanted. They wanted it to be institutional. So this one, I mean, 15,000 likes, 12,000 bookmarks. I'm one of them. 2.6 thousand retweets and 1.2 thousand shares. People have been talking about this all the time. I think it was even in the what's happening. It was trending on X. All these conversations, people are like, "Oh my God, no! This is hearsay." Can you imagine if you're a Bitcoin maximalist and you're 21 million, nothing, and you're like, "Wait a second, how do you argue with this?" Yeah, there actually is more Bitcoin technically that people are exposed to, and it's just like the fractional reserve system that we're trying to run away from. Hoo-wee. All right. So where that settles, we don't know, but it's made the sentiment really dark because there was no banana zone, there was nothing, and people are like, "Are we in a bear market now? Are we in a bear market?" Well, baby birds, we are in a bear market. All right. If we take a look at Bitcoin and we take a look at Bitcoin on the daily, and I'm just gonna use my wave indicator. Yes, I'm showing it on the chart. You don't have to go buy it from the Sacred Profit Library. You have it right here. Being very generous, very nice. And I don't know if you can see it here, Peter, but this red line is what we were talking about this whole time, the volume-weighted average price. This red line is the yearly volume-weighted moving average. Be like, Tom, can you use such a line to determine the intricacies of the bull market and bear market for Bitcoins? Can you really do that? Yes. All right. Yes. Whenever we are above that line, it's a bull market. When we go below it, it's bear market. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. We're above that line, bull market. Below that line, bear market. Above that line, bull market, and so on and so forth. The bear market last time, I mean, Peter, the pattern we have this time is almost exactly. Last time, below this red line, the price fell, it came down, confirmed it, came down, right? Over here, the price came down below the line over here, right there. It bounced around, came up, confirmed it, fell down. For everyone in the Bitcoin space who likes to look at patterns and charts, and this is what happened before, and this is what happened again, we just have to extrapolate to the future. I don't know how can we get any clearer than that. We're in a bear market, folks. How deep and how long it lasts, we don't know. But 50% down below the volume-weighted average price with sentiment at all-time low, what makes a bear market if not a bear? We talked about this since spring of last year. So I don't know. Where's my accolades on Twitter? Where's people saying, "Hey, Sacred Profits are calling this out"? No.
Now you suspect that
it's
not about you. It sounds like it's about you. You're suspecting that this might be the shallowest, shortest bear market for Bitcoin.
Correct. You're paying attention, Peter, and I like that. I was pointing at that red line on the chart, but there's also another chart, another line, something that Mordor did not expect. Oh, sorry, Sauron did not expect. Which is, let me just zoom out a little bit more. Which is,
while you set that up, go ahead.
The long-term trend over here. The long-term. So if you see over here, let me just hide these.
While you
levels.
set that up, I'm going to read Mustang Trader's
Go for
comment here. It looks like a lot of people are hitting the like button for some pretty dumb shit. No one knows why BTC is dropping. Mustang Trader says 52K. Yep.
So the last 3 times that Bitcoin fell to the lustrum, the orange line here, I call the lustrum, is a 5-year period. Falling out to this line, yes, it's that simple, has been the low of the cycle. And I ignored this twice, thinking this time is different. Why? Because this was COVID, and this was inflation, and never had this before, first time in 40 years, blah, 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 blah. Turns out, dead on each time. So my expectation is that 56,000 over here, around between 50 and 56,000, is where we're going to drop to the low, and then that'll be it. And then we'll be off to the races again. Will we have a massive run up? I don't know, but I think that's the low. So I'm looking anything below 60,000. I'm starting to buy, and I'm looking for a ride up after that. I don't see how we drop much further than that. Maybe we pierce it, maybe we wick it, but close values, I think we're going to be down at that level. That's why I think we're almost done the bear market that people aren't expecting. They're expecting we're going to be in a bear market all the way to October of next year, like maybe, but we might not fall as drastically as we did before. Why? Because remember, these liquidations that we saw last time, what were they? FTX, Celsius, Luna, 3AC Capital, all these crazy frauds that were happening, right? We don't have that now, other than maybe perhaps Michael Saylor, but that's not going to like bring down the well, maybe there is a school of thought, Peter. There is a school of thought that the bear market will be over once the MicroStrategies gets liquidated. Twas foretold. Twas foretold.
Do you think that? Oh, don't answer that.
What I do know is that MicroStrategy had their do I have it here? MicroStrategy had their earnings call last night. Worst time to have it. Bitcoin's at 70,000, below 70,000, 5 p.m. People were not happy. And the whole do I have it here? The whole conversation was like, or let me put it in a different way. People so wanted to know what the hell was going on that there were 187,000 people live watching 5 p.m. an earnings call, a 2-hour earnings call for MicroStrategy, right? That's what it was. So yeah, people are very interested in this. So the last thing I want to mention here before we got to go, because I do want to mention this, which is the same sort of effect that he's talking about that we just read for Bitcoin, is stuff that we might be seeing in gold and in silver. Now, gold and silver are two different, even though the metals, gold is used as a reserve asset from central banks all around the world in order to help shore up their currency. All right? Shore up the currency. 1 second here. So for the currency, whereas silver is used is often rises during growth, and is a commodity that is stockpiled. It's also like a reserve asset, but not always not for monetary reasons, but for like, hey, if I need silver, I need to be able to build up my industrial base, my manufacturing. I'm going to need silver inside of that process. And so when that rises, it's generally a sign of productive growth, or at least the countries are buying it to stockpile it for productive growth. And so the idea here for silver, part of the narrative is always that, hey, China might get into a conflict with United States and the rest of the world. They got to start stockpiling commodities now in case anything that happens, right? So if anything like that's going to happen, then so if they start buying now, you can imagine why the price is skyrocketing. That's why I think still the futures market in Hong Kong, silver is still like at all-time highs, whereas silver in the United States has dropped. Why? Because I'm not a silver expert, so I'm just giving you my 2 cents here, Peter, but so you can know. What happens is that, and I had this conversation with my friend the other day, silver is not like the futures for silver is not like it is for NASDAQ, SPY, or whatever, right? If you have SPY futures, all the other person has to deliver for that futures contract is contracts, SPY contracts. They could just go on and buy it. But if you have to deliver silver, if all the silver that was being referenced by futures contracts all had to be delivered, you couldn't do it. There's not enough silver to cover all of it. Run on the bank sort of situation. So what happens is that some futures traders buying silver, and they're like, well, this price could go up to, it could go to 500. Well, silver price can't go to 500 just like that because it'll destroy all kinds of systems. Plus, there's a counterparty on the other side, the exchange and the insurance company for the exchange and the clearing houses. They're on the other side of that trade. Right. So you're like, I'm going to lever up $100,000 to $1 million worth of silver. I don't know what the leverage ratio is. $1 million worth of silver. Someone else is on the other side that has the counterparty to that. You're just risking $100,000. They're risking $1 million. Right. So what do? They have to curb that demand, which means they increase margin requirements. They go, okay, like if you're going to do this, you're going to have to put more money down so that we're less at risk. Right. Well, they ask for more money down and you don't have that money or you don't do it in time, you get liquidated. and you lose your 100,000, right? But that 100,000 was underpinning $1 million worth of silver, as an example. It was underpinning that. So what happens to that 1 million in the market? It gets sold. So the person's margin disappears, they can't go back in, and $1 million contracts get sold. If that happens again and again and again, you get these cascade and liquidations like we saw. So the price just falls dramatically, right? Because they're trying to keep it down. You can't have futures that run away. Peter, you don't want to live in a world where wheat or copper or silver just all of a sudden just skyrocketing like crazy, and you go, oh my God, I'm so happy for that. My portfolio is real. Your inflation would be unbelievable. Peter, if they had to factor that number into the manufacturing process, that's what it is now. Silver is now at $200 an ounce, and to factor that in, you know, your inflation will go up. All right.
Serenity now, Tom. Mustang Trader says, referring to silver, I think, it's a deliverable asset. So when the price gets too high, the CME increases the margin rate to bring price down. This has happened multiple times since 1940. But I guess there's people who just don't know that.
And where did the price fall to? The long-term trend. Right down here, the long-term trend. These volume-weighted average prices are... No, it's not volume-weighted average price. Volume-weighted moving averages are super useful for determining long-term trends. Yeah, we are set at a higher price than we were before because there is a higher demand for silver. So we're not going to be at $25. We're going to be around $70 per ounce. Totally understand that. And it could maybe skyrocket again. Who knows? But what we do know is that a bunch of people got liquidated because suddenly I think the margin requirements were increased 3 times in like a period of a week or 2 weeks, something like that. And so that's naturally going to cause a liquidation cascade. Should you get in now? Yes. I don't know. Do your own research. I have no idea. I don't go long silver. Figure out what you want to do there. But don't be surprised that they're just going to keep trying to smash this down. It's not just manipulation. Someone is on the other side of your trade.
Mustang Trader, I do see your question mark there. Is this this is a question mark. Start of year VWAP? That's a question.
Start of your VWAP. Oh, I've never done a VWAP anchored at the beginning of the year. I'll do that at one point.
That's interesting.
Maybe I'll make an indicator for that. Maybe that's like long-term trends that can be determined. I'll check that out.
Folks, if I don't stop him now, he'll never stop, all right? If you want to hear more from the great sacred prophet, Tom Hartman, if you're liking the content here on the Traders Post channel, like and subscribe. Tom is online basically every day, all right? So they do price action live where they trade. You'll see his indicators. You'll see what he's talking about. You can ask him questions. You can trade along with them. Mike Christensen and Tom Hartman, they trade the open price action live Tuesday to Friday, 4 days a week, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Highly recommend you check that out. If you're wondering about Traders Post, you can not only see them use it, but you can ask us questions. We do office hours every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Blueprint, building things, indicators, strategy. If you want something built, you can suggest it to Tom. Tom might build it for you. He's built other things for other people. He's built for Mustang Trader. You can come on Blueprint. That is 3 p.m. on Thursdays, every Thursday, and you can watch back episodes. And then, of course,
Wednesday.
Huh? What's that?
Trevor, Wednesday.
Oh yeah, Wednesday. That's right. Tutor sessions. The great Trevor will be showing you how to use Traders Post. That's been started now. You can watch back episodes there as well. But that's it. Really appreciate you folks being there. Thank you for giving us your attention. Really appreciate it. Talk more, fellows, or sing a little. No, we gotta go, man. We got things to do. But very much appreciate you folks. That's it. My name is Peter Hartman. That's Tom Hartman. You've been watching Traders Post here, and as always, we wish you happy trading.
Bye.